Okay. The Captain's Log, episode 17, take 329. Go.
Right now, all new number one.
Exactly.
Captain's Log, fresh start.
I think we finally figured it out. We had technical difficulties last week, the week before, all of that stuff. It's always something new, too. It's never the exact same thing.
The best part's gonna be, like 3 years from now, we'll be like, yeah, man, it's cool. Like, next week we'll get it sorted out. We'll see. There's always going to be something. There's always fucking some firmware update or something changes.
I'm learning that my computer is not the best for streaming.
It doesn't help.
I got I have a Mac desktop, and I think it's one of their like lower end ones, but I got it last Black Friday because I needed a new computer, and I used to only have a MacBook laptop, and I was like, you know what? I really only use it for the podcasting stuff. What if I get like an actual desktop and then get some like rinky-dink laptop for on the go? And now that I'm like, oh, we can do cameras, and I got my green screen, and I got the fancy mic, and we're recording and streaming and doing all of this stuff, it's like, whoa, hold on there, dude. let's calm down and think about this.
Yeah, it's always hard when you get into a new thing. Like, I got a new digital camera just a few months ago, and it was a big upgrade over what I had been shooting. So
What'd
it's like
you get?
way better.
I've
got a Nikon D7200.
Okay.
So it's like their enthusiast level. So it's like mid grade as far as like it's not the cheapest.
I have my 3200 right here, or whatever.
Oh,
this one is.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I learned on the 3300, which is basically the exact same thing.
Yeah, they're all about the same.
Yeah. Mine, the enthusiast level, all that means is it has a whole bunch of like in and out ports and like ridiculous things on the side because it looks busier.
Yeah.
I don't actually like use any of them. I shoot manual, so it's just like, all right, I only change the ISO setting, the shutter speed and the aperture, opening, and then that's it. I don't fuck with anything else. But if you look along the side, there's all kinds of like little flaps and ins and outs. But then when you look at the pro cameras, they're like super streamlined. They don't have any of that shit because like pros don't actually use any of that ridiculous shit. So it's funny, yeah. It's like beginner stuff is super clean and super streamlined. The middle of the road stuff is like, it's like the 40-year-old guy that like starts a garage band, but he can afford a Les Paul, where like the kid starting out can't. So he'll buy like a really, really nice guitar. But it's like he's not any better than anyone else. But he's like, but I got the flame top though. I spent more money because look at the wood grain. You can't hear it, but look at it though.
That sunburned wood grain Les Paul with a terrible.
I feel like pretty much, and I feel like my camera's the equivalent of that, where it's like it's solid, it's really good, but it doesn't need most of that shit, and I don't use it, but it's like it's there. It is what it is. But when I got that, the first time I loaded up my raw files on my computer, I was like, holy fuck, this is taking a minute, because my computer is kind of
ginormous, yeah.
So they're just really big,
files.
yeah, because when you're talking raw files, from a digital camera, they can be pretty enormous, and so it's pretty labor intensive so I can hear my computer thinking. And so editing is a very slow process. In a way, it's kind of cool because it makes me kind of like, well, it physically makes me. I have to slow down and then really like stare at every image as it's loading. It's actually funny because there's like a preview mode. I use a program called On One, and there's like it'll preview like the JPEG, and it's like everything looks like okay, and I can click through and kind of be like, oh, what do I want to edit? Yeah. But then when it clicks to like the full resolution JPEG or the raw file, there's like. It's like a full minute of my computer like thinking, and you see the little blue circle like spinning, and the image looks fuzzy, and then I'll actually see like the full resolution image, but it has to like load for like that long because my computer's that old. And if I try to click on anything before that to like change the color or something, it'll just be like hung, it'll make this noise and be like, oh no, I'm still thinking. There you go. So it's a very methodical process, but I feel you, man, on the like, hey, oh yeah, computer, you're old. Because I got upgraded this one thing, and now...
It's not even an old computer. It's just, it's not built for all of the stuff that I'm trying to make it do. But,
yeah. Well, audio can be pretty intensive, especially and video, especially where you're live streaming and everything. That's pretty labor intensive. Yeah. That's why we have a Patreon.
Exactly. So if you didn't know,
give us some money, kids, so Kyle can get a better computer.
If you did not know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Captain's Log, episode 17. I kind of mentioned it at the start. This is a weekly podcast that we do here at the Whatnauts, where each week we can just come sit back, chill, and relax, talk about whatever the hell we want. And we have a Patreon, so if you guys enjoy this show or any of our other podcasts, you guys can support us for only $1 a month, and you can get all of our episodes early. And I think I'm gonna try. I mentioned this a long time ago to Paul, and I was like, I don't know why we haven't done it yet, but we need like a T-shirt store. Like, let's just
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, like why not? Awesome. What's stopping us? So we're gonna get that stuff up. But man, this has been one hell of a week.
Definitely. What you been up to? What have you been up to, my dude?
So last weekend, I went to another movie. It's kind of become my routine on Sunday afternoons.
You put so much time into getting that movie pass, you might as well use the damn thing.
Which I think at the end of this month or next month, I need to either redo my plan or something, because I only bought the 3-month one because I was like, I'm gonna try it out and see what's happening. And so I think I'm almost done with my 3 months, and then I'm debating on either continuing with that or just paying for a full year, which I think gives me a little bit more perks too. I think there's more movies that I can go see or something. But
they send you a legit crown in the mail, yo dog, you see this VIP?
There you go.
That's only for the 1-year plan though.
Walking in with my tiara on, right?
That'd be dope, man. See, if they had more rewards programs like that, man, how many? I mean, let's get real. Instead of because everyone has the plastic card. If you're no, dog, you get a scepter, and you go to the movies and you have a fucking gold ass scepter, scan that, son. Yeah,
the ring,
that
bitch.
means 15% off of popcorn. Literally kiss my ring. Literally, that's how I get into the movies. Just saying, if you're a big baller like that, oh my god, I'd sign up for a lot more shit.
I've never actually dressed up to go to the movies. It used to be a thing, right? Where you would go out and wear your nice suit and a tie, and your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever would also be dressed up. And then there's me that's I'm gonna go in t-shirt and shorts and a some baggy hoodie so I can sneak in some candy.
Oh, no doubt.
But if I had that full on pimp suit and a cane, some kind of crown, I think that's how I would go to the movies each week. Just walk in.
That's what's up. I want to walk in looking like the Pope. I want to look so fresh. I want to have the hat. I want to have a chain. I want rings on each finger, and each one could be a discount. That one's 15% off of popcorn. That one gets me a free small soda. This one right here, 1 movie a month, dog. Yeah. Each one's a benefit.
That was the thing. Instead of cards that you had to swipe, instead of membership cards, it was membership rings. And you just
That's
had
what I'm
to,
saying, dude. I want to look like Hal Jordan straight murdered the entire Corps and took all the rings for himself. I need all the rings. I want to go into the mall yo, man, I want my pretzel. Ting! That's what's up. Thanos ain't got nothing on me, baby. I'm about to wreck half this mall. That's what's up.
Did you see that GIF? It was I think it was a link to an article of here's 10 people who can defeat Thanos without even trying, and it was a GIF of the Disney Robin Hood animated movie when little John is kissing all of what's his name's rings, and he's taking all of the jewels there. I was like, that's
beautiful.
Amazing.
that is so beautiful,
so good,
dude. So many people sleep on that Robin Hood, man. That Disney
It's
Robin
one of my
Hood
favorites. It's so good.
It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's one of the best films, and everyone sleeps on it. Like, everyone forgets about it. So good. Fuck. Yeah. God, I need to watch that now. God, I love it so much. It's so good. I hadn't seen that, but that is beautiful.
It was
and,
perfect.
Accurate.
Yes. I love it.
Majestic.
Yeah, so I went to the movies, and I saw Sorry to Bother You. And this thing...
Refresh my memory on which one this is.
It's starring Lakeith Stanfield. It's like a purple poster with him, and he's got bandages on his head. He's looking like Afro Samurai. But he gets he gets a job at a call center, and the trailers, like, he's sitting there being like, "Hi, sorry to bother you. My name is, so and so," and he's just having the worst time. And then one day he's sitting next to this other guy who's also a black guy, and he's like, "Nah, man, you have to use your white voice. Like, don't just be a white guy, but be the white guy that the white guys want to be. Your bills are paid. You got nothing to, you got nothing to worry about." He's like this. "Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Stanfield. Sorry to bother you. My name is," and he just gets like, and it's really funny because it's him mouthing it, but it's someone else voicing it, and it's like Patton Oswalt, like speaking.
Nice.
And so yeah, it seems to be like, from what the trailers painted, it seemed to be this like workplace comedy / indie film that has some kind of like workplace economic commentary thing. And that's what it started out as. And it was great. It was hilarious. It seemed I didn't know who all was cast in it. Tessa Thompson is in it. Terry Crews makes a cameo. Oh God, who else was in it? There's a whole bunch of people, but this movie blew my mind. It is wild. I like to describe it as an indie film, like workplace commentary. That is not it at all. I did not expect this movie. It gets to be this like surrealist, dark comedy, almost body horror at certain things.
Oh, okay.
It's like some modern day Kafka, like metamorphosis stuff, and it is brilliant. I'm still just like, what the fuck did I just watch? This shit was wild. So I highly recommend it. Go out and see it. It's,
check it out.
I can't even say what happened without like ruining the big twist. But like you see it and you see what's happening, and you're just like, this is not what the fuck is going on? This is ridiculous. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that.
That's awesome.
It's a wild ride. Yeah, I tweeted out, I was like, I am still thinking about how amazing and how mind-blowing this movie is. And then I think the director liked it. He liked my tweet. I was like, yeah, hell
nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It was fun.
Nice.
And then Comic-Con is happening right now. The big San Diego Comic-Con.
Belinda, Whatnauts member, is there right now.
Yeah,
Belinda is live, and I'm not at all jealous.
Again, I was hoping to get her on this week's episode, but she had better things to do.
It's like, she's got a good reason why she can't this week.
Yeah.
That's folks show.
Yeah. So yeah. Let's dive into Comic-Con real fast here. I was putting some things in our Discord, which you guys can join our Discord and join in the conversations and talk with us throughout the week. Right now, it's mainly just me talking to myself because we have no friends there, so you guys should definitely hop in. You can look for the link on our Twitter at the Whatnauts. But yeah, I saw it, I guess, Wednesday is when they posted it, the first trailer for DC's Titans live-action Titan show.
God.
This was like the first big thing.
People are losing their fucking minds. And frankly, rightly so. It looks divisive, to say the least. I'm not terribly surprised coming from DC. They just seem to be going in the grimdark direction these days with everything they do. Kyle, I want your take on this, though. The biggest problem that I have with it is not that it's dark, is that it seems like they get Dick Grayson completely wrong. I still think it's Jason Todd impersonating Dick Grayson. It's the only way that it would be okay with me. It's the only way that would make any sense, because clearly that's not Dick Grayson. It cannot be.
Apparently, I think Jeff Johns hinted that Jason Todd would be in there as well, along with Superboy and Lex Luthor.
Man. So if that's Dick Grayson, I can't wait to see Jason Todd. He's going to be straight, like, beheading people. I'm like, what the fuck are they going to do to make him worse? Oh, my God.
So I feel like this trailer was very polarizing for a lot of people.
For sure.
I did not like it at all. I thought it was just it's not. I don't think it's their best move. It's not what they should open with. It's not. I mean, it's the first live action trailer. I don't know if it's a teaser or if it's an actual trailer. It's hard to tell these days. But
yeah.
It's very dark. It's very gritty. It seems to be pulling from Wolfman and Perez's run on the Teen Titans from the early 80s, which for a book in the early to mid 80s, that book went to some very dark spots.
Yeah.
So there was some in some of the Discord channels I'm in. People were like, the Teen Titans aren't dark. Like, it shouldn't like it absolutely should not be this dark. And I was like, you're right, it shouldn't be this dark. But have you read these books that it's pulling from? They absolutely go to some dark spots. So I kind of understand it, but it's not what they should have opened with. Like, this absolutely was a opportunity for them to step away from that dark, bleak, cinematic movie universe that they've been failing at. And to make something, especially that's most people know as Teen Titans, to like gear this towards a more like teen-centric, if not family-friendly. I mean, family-friendly makes it sound not as good. But, I mean, like, if you're going to bring some hope and light into the universe, Teen Titans absolutely can do that. And I think that's what they needed. And it's not it.
Yeah, so I know I've gone on record before. Everyone knows that I'm a huge comic fan. I work at a comic shop. I love comics so much, and I try to go into an open mind anytime I see, a film adaptation or a show, animated feature, whatever it is. Like, I know that it's going to be different. I know they're going to tweak things, and I'm always fine with it as long as the characters are true to themselves.
Yeah.
So, like, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as a general rule, I'm really happy with most of it. Even if they've changed the way, like, the Infinity Gems work and things like that, it's like, it's fine because it's a different thing, but then, like, Captain America still feels like Captain America, and so I still love it. With this, it's like, I'm totally fine with them doing darker stories still, although it doesn't seem like it's really working well for them overall, and it seems like their biggest successes have been like Wonder Woman, which was certainly thematically
darker,
not as dark. It had its moments. I mean, you're talking about like a God of War and stuff like that. It took place during World War I, so it wasn't like a lighthearted film, but it wasn't super grim dark visually, aesthetically. And
she was
Wonder
still that
Woman was
beacon of hope in like
she was a beacon of hope, exactly.
Grim dark thing, which they didn't seem to have in this trailer.
Robin to me was the biggest turnoff. Yeah. For one thing, Dick Grayson is one of my all-time favorite characters. Like, Dick Grayson and Wally West are probably tied for my favorite DC, character. I love them so much. And I have since childhood, so it's one of those, like, man, I feel like I know those characters, intimately.
Yeah.
And, that just doesn't feel like Dick Grayson. It's fine to even have, even if there was more violence and stuff, it's feel like he wouldn't go there though. Like one of my all-time favorite Batman stories. It's Scott Snyder's first on Batman. It's the last. It's called The Black Mirror. It's the last 11 issues of Detective Comics. It's amazing, but it's a run that happened right before the New 52. It was the last year before the New 52 started, and it was Jock and Francisco Francavilla alternating back and forth on the art. So stunning good book. But the thing was, it was Dick Grayson as Batman, and there's a beautiful scene in that book where Two-Face is watching a video recording of his henchman getting beat up, and so at first, as like any reader or whatever, it's like, well, it's Batman, because like Batman flips through the window, throws some batarangs around, punches some dudes out,
knocks them the
Batman.
fuck out.
He's awesome. Yeah. It's Batman. It's Batman. And he takes them out quickly and efficiently. They're down for the count, and then he moves on. But Two-Face, Batman's villains, a lot of them are very psychologically based, and a lot of them have this very intimate knowledge of Batman and vice versa. And that's one of the things that I love about his rogues gallery is like there's this weird, unhealthy obsession that really they have with like each other. And so Two-Face, it bothers him. He keeps rewinding the tape and just watching it and watching it and watching it. And he's like, something's not right, something's not right, something's not right. And then he freeze frames it right as Batman flips through the window, and there's a split second where he smiles, and he stops it.
He's like,
"That's
what
it.
The fuck?
Batman doesn't smile. My Batman doesn't smile." But it's Dick Grayson, and he doesn't know that. But he figures out in that moment that it's a different Batman.
Yeah.
Because he knows that, so even with him, still like beating everyone's ass and doing his thing, it's like, no, because Dick Grayson is a more lighthearted character. He's still a crime fighter and everything, but he's not supposed to feel
he's
like
much more
Bruce or anyone else.
He was still about the mission, but not as much as Batman was like single-minded. Like he still wanted to have fun and like go to college and have friends, whereas Batman was like, no, this is our life now, And so I
feel like Dick wasn't closed off in that same way.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I'm actually kind of reading a bunch of the Batman stuff kind of around that era, just in my own spare time. Actually, Jason Todd just bit the dust. But like I can understand having a moment where Dick Grayson says "fuck Batman," but. And so I guess that's what we don't really know is how reflective is this trailer of the entirety of that first season, because this season could be exactly what we want, right? Where it is a little bit more lighthearted. There is these good interactions. The characters actually are who they are, and they just wanted this trailer to be like hold on to your panties, because we're about to blow your socks off.
It worked. I mean, as far as it did its job, and it was provocative, and it got people talking. Oh my god! That trailer it's trending right now.
So in that sense, it's a great trailer that it is getting people talking.
Yeah. So I still think / hope that that's not Dick Grayson. That cannot be Dick Grayson. It can't be.
Well,
if it's Dick Grayson, then I'm not gonna be interested in. If it's Jason, then fine. I'll like live with it. You know.
Well, he like at that time of if they're pulling from the Marv Wolfman and George Perez comics as like the main kind of overarching storyline and what's happening in their lives, Dick Grayson basically just got kicked out of the Bat family because he got hurt, and Batman was like, "What the fuck was I thinking? I shouldn't bring children into this. Like, you can never, be Robin again." And so he's like, "Well, I'm still about the mission. I'm just not as like single-minded as you are. So I'm gonna go have fun and still fight crime." So in that moment, it makes sense. Like, him and Batman don't see eye to eye, and they're like, "Where's Batman?" He's like, "Fuck Batman! Like, the dude just kicked me out of my house, Even
the line isn't what bothers me. Saying "fuck Batman," but then that doesn't bother me. It's the stepping on the guy.
Curb stomped someone.
And the thing is, I don't. Everyone's like, "Oh, he murdered that guy." I think it was supposed to be he broke his jaw, which doesn't make it a whole lot better. But I think that's what they were going for. It's like not actual like full on murder, but like definitely like broke his jaw.
It is a lot more violent.
It's too, but like Dick Grayson's not that vicious. At his worst, he wouldn't be that vicious. So
but
like that, I guess that's the thing. I'm fine with the fuck Batman part, but
the thing that I'm seeing that people aren't talking about is the voice over that happens after that, though. Which is apparently still Dick Grayson, and he's saying he's saying stuff along the lines of, "I've become something I shouldn't be, and I need help." And so I think it is. I think especially for Dick Grayson, we are gonna see this. Okay, Batman just kicked me out. Who the fuck am I if I'm not Robin? I'm becoming something darker. Maybe I shouldn't be as dark as this. Batman just got a new sidekick. What the fuck? I thought he just said he wasn't gonna, do this. And then, we're gonna see that transformation into Nightwing. And then I think we're gonna see Jason Todd, bite the dust and start to be this, like, I'm not gonna listen to Batman. I'm gonna rush in and almost kill people, if not maybe kill people. Because I just read this storyline where there's an arc where Jason Todd, it doesn't show him actually killing this person because Batman gets there late. But he gets there to see this guy falling off a balcony, and Jason Todd being the only one on this balcony. And Jason basically didn't like this dude. And so he was like, "What the fuck just happened?" And he's like, "You don't need to know." And then that's it. It's like, oh shit, I think he just killed him. So I think he's gonna see that, and hopefully we'll get some kind of redemption arc. But
that could be interesting if it's the journey to Nightwing. That could be cool. As long as
we get
like
Disco
the starting
Nightwing.
point, and they move. Oh, dude, if we don't see the fucking pipes and shit. Oh, I need the piping. I want the mullet. What's up, man? Have the homage scene where he's got the ridiculous, like, big white Hawaiian shirt and, like, the crazy-ass mullet. I mean, like, come on, son. Give the fans what we want. We want that. Woo!
That would be amazing. And, I think it's also... I don't know. The last thing I'll say about this trailer is I think it was also a case of... shit, it's Comic-Con. We need to announce something fast. Because I didn't like the effects on Starfire and Beast Boy. Gar did not look good. It wasn't
the best look. It did not look the best. Yeah.
I remember when
I don't know what their budget is.
Set photos first leaked, and people were giving the actress who played Starfire a real hard time. Which guys don't do that. If you don't like the costume or something, that's one thing. But don't like you haven't seen her portrayal of Corey yet. Like you don't know if she's good or bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not liking her look. I don't think it works.
One final thing I want to say about this, just to tie it back to the overarching conversation about Comic-Con, is that apparently it's been reported that there are people at San Diego right now yelling "fuck Batman" to Batman cosplayers because of this trailer.
What?
And I think that's hilarious.
It kind of is, but at the same time, like, come on,
I feel
guys.
bad for those guys because they didn't know. You pack up your shit, you're getting ready for like San Diego Comic-Con, you prepare like months in advance.
Around like, oh my god, it's Batman, let me get a selfie.
And everyone's like, ha ha, fuck Batman. Like, god damn it, Warner Brothers. Like, fucking A, man.
Terrible.
Can't catch a break. I'd be super salty if I was a Batman cosplayer right now. I'd be super pissed.
I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in our Discord, next thing I posted from Comic-Con was Star Wars Clone Wars is coming back.
Oh my god.
Dude, I lost my shit.
So hyped. I was one of those, like, I turned off my phone. I turned it back on because I was like, I can't be seeing this. And I did. I was like, oh, shit. Oh, yeah. And then I watched the trailer and I lost my mind.
Now, that is how you do a trailer.
Oh, my God.
It was so good.
It was so good.
Plug for the review show. We just did an episode of Star Wars Rebels Season 1. You guys can go watch that at thewhatnauts.com. or on YouTube, or as a podcast. Just search The Whatnauts, and all of our stuff will come up. Find the review show, and it will be up there.
Rebels is also awesome.
Yeah, Rebels is fantastic. But that's the thing, we make mention of the Clone Wars in that, and it was like, yeah, it got canceled when Disney bought Lucasfilm, so they had to take it off of Cartoon Network. Netflix kind of picked it up for the remainder of season 5 and then did a Netflix exclusive airing of season 6, but even then they only made those because it was already in development, but it never really finished. And then it just moved on to Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get some resolution, and I'm assuming that's what's going to happen here, because it's going to be was it like a 12-part that they're doing?
Guess so. It's a full
It sounds
season,
like
and it's just like, this is it. We're doing one last season, and then we'll be done.
Hyped.
Which is good. If they did something like this, I honestly would have expected them to do, we're going to do a movie. Because that's how they launched the Clone Wars. Why not wrap it up with one, you know? So I'm thankful this is actually going to be a full season. And I am hype as fuck. Dude, it looks so good.
It looks fucking gorgeous. I can't wait.
Good.
I love the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars single-handedly saved my Star Wars fandom because I wasn't super in love with the prequels, but then the Clone Wars stuff started coming out, and it was so good that it kept me in it. You know,
it's what made me an actual Star Wars fan. Like, I was always a casual, just like, I've seen the movies, I like them, you know, they're cool. I like sci-fi stuff, but it didn't really resonate with me until I saw the Clone Wars. I mentioned to Melissa this same thing. I was like, it's a cartoon for kids, but it's still canon, which means they explain things as if they're talking to kids. And that's when I finally understood Star Wars. I was like, "Oh."
I feel you.
But so I'm hype for that.
Hell yeah.
Dude, and I guess they're doing that, and Star Wars Resistance is gonna be the new cartoon that's kind of closer to the newer movies. I haven't heard much about that. I've seen pictures of like the logo and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't been keeping up with the new one at all. I should probably actually check to see.
I've only seen the first 2 seasons of Rebels until Ezra is in the big temple, and I won't spoil who, but that one dude is trying to be like, hey, I can teach you some stuff. And then Ahsoka and who is having their confrontation. So I've only seen up until that, and I think season 4 just wrapped up.
Yeah, I'm also behind on it.
I think that was the final season of that, and they're switching to Star Wars Resistance, which is going to be closer in the timeline to the newer movies, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah, so could be neat stuff. Is there anything you're looking forward to or hoping for coming out of Comic-Con?
Yeah, I'm kind of scrolling through right now just to like refresh my memory. There's just such a glut of information that comes out at once. It like takes me like a week to like kind of unpack it all and fully get into all these like articles and things and flesh out the details.
They released a story trailer for the Spider-Man PS4 game, which I haven't watched yet, and I kind of don't want to because I already know I'm going to absolutely fucking love that game. So I'm at the point where I'm like, I just want the game. Like, don't spoil anything else. I want the game.
DC just in general is bringing their A game. So you've got Scott Snyder doing Justice League. You've got Bendis doing Superman.
I've been reading Justice League. I've been liking it. I'm like 2 issues behind because they're doing it like bi-weekly.
It's coming out pretty quick.
Bi-monthly, not bi.
Yeah, I always get those two confused. G. Willow Wilson's going to be taking over Wonder Woman. Kelly Sue DeConnick is going to be taking over Aquaman. And Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp are going to be doing Green Lantern.
That'll be interesting.
They are bringing their top talent to their big kind of tentpole books.
They've been crushing it.
So that's exciting. Just on like the pure comics front, that's really really exciting. I haven't been keeping up as much with like the Marvel side of things. But yeah, all those DC books coming out, I'm really, really hyped for. I'm already reading Superman. Bendis just started, so that's been really solid so far. I guess I'm trying to think. There was a kid that did a beautiful Coco cosplay, and that was one of the most beautiful things I've seen to come out of San Diego so far.
You've been to a lot of cons up in the Northwest, but you recently was like, you know what, I'm going to stop going to cons unless it's for cosplay stuff. So I'm assuming you're looking more at, what are the awesome cosplay stuff that's out there?
That's a lot of what I'm checking out.
So you say a good Coco one. What else have you seen? Amazing.
That's like Coco. The biggest one so far. Again, I've gotten derailed because the new She-Ra reboot is coming, and it's gotten a lot of hype and a lot of negativity. I personally really love the design. I think it's really cool.
I don't know who the fuck She-Ra is, so I'm just like, sweet. It's Noelle Stevenson.
It was a He-Man spinoff.
I like Noelle Stevenson. So
it's the original. It's so funny because a lot of 40-something guys now like that didn't like it then.
It's not sexy enough.
Are acting like they have a big problem and like their childhood was ruined. I can't see her shoulders. I can tell you, I'm 37 years old, and I was a small child I was alive when She-Ra was popular, and I remember it. And most boys I know weren't openly like, "Yeah, man." And I get it was the 80s, it was a different time. But, like, I know I always really loved it. And, like, we had a She-Ra action figure, and I always thought she was really badass. And, you know, I had She-Ra alongside all my He-Man toys and everything in my Castle Grayskull. So,
did she have a chant like, "I have the power"?
I haven't seen the cartoon in so long that I couldn't tell you. Okay. She probably did. I did try to go
power.
Back. Yeah, like, bitch, I got the power. Watch it. Sit your ass down, Adam.
Kiss the ring, bitches.
Yeah, kiss the ring. 15% off popcorn. Yeah. Man. Wouldn't it be great if that's the only way that you could do it, too? You're like, you can't just put the ring on. You have to, like, it's like the Green Lantern Corps. You gotta, like, say it, like, with this ring, 15% I get. And then it, like, fucking glows or some shit. Like, yeah! Woo! I got the power, baby. You gotta get it. It's like charged by your enthusiasm.
There you go.
That'd be a thing.
The amount of disc count you get is how like loudly you yell.
Yeah. It's like it defaults to 5%. If you yell, you might get 20. You're like, woo! Butter on that popcorn, baby. And it's just like straight glowing, like white hot. Like, yeah, baby.
Eat that cheese.
Yeah.
Eat that cheese.
If you think about it, that'd be like a brilliant marketing strategy. If it was like, yeah, you had to like, if you were like yelling in the mall, like, I love taquitos or something. At like Hector's stand, be like, oh, taquitos. I hear that. I know those taquitos are fire, son.
You remember it was an old, I want to say Pizza Hut, the Hoo-Ha 2 times Tuesday. You remember that?
I don't think I remember
commercial.
This.
Shit, it was some pizza place, either Pizza Hut or Domino's. I know it wasn't Papa John's because no one fucking likes Papa John's.
Yeah.
But it was their, like, they had some deal on Tuesday, and it was some, like, 2 times Tuesday something, but their marketing scheme was, like, hoo-ha for 2 times Tuesday, and, like, no one did it, and, like, the one guy who was answering calls to take orders was, like, all about it, was like, yeah, let's get a hoo-ha for 2 times Tuesday, woo! and everyone else was just like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
Oh, man.
It was great.
That is, oh my god, that is beautiful. But yeah, She-Ra distracted me from paying proper attention to the other cosplays I've seen.
Okay.
I know several people. Yeah, I basically my Twitter right now. I'm sorry if you follow me because
She-Ra announcement come out. What day was that? Do you remember?
A couple days.
I want to say
I think it was just a
Tuesday or Wednesday, right?
Yeah, it was. It's been less than a week, and yeah, it's been blowing up, and I love it. And
I wonder,
like, a lot of
how fast She-Ra cosplay. Like, I'm hoping, like, by Saturday or Sunday, someone has furiously sewing, like, all of this
I bet someone at San Diego is going to do it. I feel like, no, I think you're right. I think someone's going to debut it at San Diego. That's always one of the most impressive things to me is seeing, like, when Spider-Gwen debuted, for example, before her book came out. Seeing all the Spider-Gwen cosplayers and stuff and being really impressed by, like, that level of dedication, because it's not easy to whip up a costume like that.
That one had some time, because I think that Spider-Gwen one-shot in the Edge of Spider-Verse thing came out at, like, the start of summer, and they had, like, a month or 2, and then it was Comic-Con. But this was, like, the week before. So
yeah, no, this is super last minute, but yeah, I bet someone will bust something out. All the people that I know personally that are going to or at San Diego rather are all professionals of some variety. Mm-hmm. So they're either writers, artists, or they're media. So they're doing like podcasting stuff, writing articles and interviewing people. So I'm living vicariously through them, and it looks like they're having a lot of fun. I've seen a lot of really cool pictures and stuff. But yeah, other than like basically the Coco Kid who was beautiful and perfect. He looks like he's the exact age of the kid. Even had like
Cuckoo
the dog with
Coco
him and everything.
Kid.
It was perfect. So like basically he wins already. I don't care. You could show me like a giant like Optimus Prime with a fully functioning like
automated
semi truck, and I'd still be like, no, but Coco-san, like he looks perfect. He's beautiful. But so I got distracted by him. So I'm sure there's other cool stuff. I'm gonna keep following it throughout the rest of the week. But that's I already saw the best. I saw the cream. I saw number one, Coco Kid.
There you
for
go.
Life.
Coco Kid
Yes.
for life. So last kind of news thing I can think of, at least for right now, that's kind of Comic-Con related. Breaking news from today, the day that we're recording this. James Gunn just got fired by Disney. He's now off of Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yep. Yeah.
For some
ridiculous
tweets that he made a long time ago, apparently about like rape jokes and stuff like that. I don't know. I didn't actually see the tweets. How are you feeling about this? Because I'm hearing very mixed feelings about this from people.
So
I mean, well,
I
rape jokes and stuff, like that should not
be
a thing. But
I feel like we like digitally are in our adolescence. I feel like just as a society, we're still figuring this thing out. Like, you can tell me all day, well, if you send out, like, nudes, they're in, like, the public sphere forever. Like, they're never truly gone. And if you say an off-color joke or whatever, it doesn't matter if it was, like, 10 years ago.
Someone will find it.
Someone will find it. And I understand that. I get that. And I don't necessarily disagree with, like, that being, like, a bad thing. At the same time, I think, how much have I grown? Like, the things that were brought up were things he said, like, 6 years ago. I'm not going to defend them because they were my understanding of them is they were very off-color.
Right.
And they were meant as jokes, but it was very...
give people the opportunity to grow and change.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing is, like, I fuck up plenty in my life. Like, I'm a pretty good person. I try to be a kind person, but I fuck up. My friends and my family and the people that love me and the people that work with me, the people that I'm around the most, they forgive me and they give me a chance to grow and learn from it. And it's one of those, if I continue to do those things, then that's an issue. But, if you can learn and you can grow, I'd like to think that, I do that for other people as well. And it's this kind of just reciprocal thing where I went to a really good panel at Emerald City, which was the only con that I went to this year. And it was Jay Edidin from Jay and Miles Explain the X-Men, one of my favorite shows. And they were talking about... just like sexist culture in comics. I wish I could remember off the top of my head what the panel was called, but it was it was just all about this like predatory behavior, specifically in comics.
For those of you guys who don't know, you briefly mentioned it, but Jay is on a podcast called Jay and Miles Explain the X-Men. It's fantastic.
It's so good.
Go check it out. But Jay was also one of the people instrumental in breaking the Eddie Berganza story for I forget who. I think it was EW who ran that story. But Jay was one of the ones behind that, speaking out, and then more recently, he helped Dark Horse like change their medical policy or their insurance stuff to be more inclusive of trans people. So Jay knows what he's talking about.
Jay's awesome. Been in the field for a long time, really awesome. But one of the things I appreciated the most was the acknowledgement that look, there's certain behaviors. I feel like, especially in 2018 in the climate we're in, even people that I tend to politically like agree with, it's like if I talk to them and they're talking to someone
Sorry
that
if you
like
guys can
leans
hear
a
all those
little.
dogs in the back. Go around there.
It's all good. If it's not that, it's gonna be my kids yelling or something. It's the joys of podcasting in the middle of the day. But it's like you and I are pretty like-minded in a lot of ways. But if I talk to another friend that thinks a little differently, that doesn't mean that they're like my enemy, and that doesn't mean like they're like a bad person. There's this weird trend of like, well, they're conservative and I'm liberal, so like we like obviously aren't going to get along, and I think that's really dangerous thinking, you know. And it's like, well, cool, not every like person I know that's more conservative than me is like literally putting on like a hood and a Nazi, you know, swastika. That's like, it seems to be what people think nowadays. And it's like, I mean, there's plenty of idiots out there, don't get me wrong.
And there's plenty of examples of that for sure. But,
yeah,
you know.
and like there are actual people doing that, but like I feel like most people I know are kind of somewhere in the middle, you know, and most people are pretty rational people. And one of the things that Jay pointed out was there's things that you can't accept at all. There's things like, you know, like rape and assault and things that like that's a hard line. No, like that's a hard line. Like you cannot accept that as a society. You can't accept that legally. There's like for safety reasons, for ethical reasons. There's certain like, you know, behaviors that are like 1,000% unacceptable, and they never will be, and they never should be. But there's certain things that were like, you know, jokes that were said, remarks, you know, whether it's like you're trying to be funny or flirty or just whatever. There's certain things that like, you know, we're social creatures and like we learn by doing. And like, I can think of a time in my life where I would have said jokes that, you know, now would very much seem off color.
Same, yeah.
Things that I would be embarrassed by them now, and I wouldn't say them now, but I said them at the time. Doesn't mean I'm a horrible garbage monster. I'd like to think I'm not. But again, I've learned and I've grown, and part of the thing is society has also changed, and like we are more openly having conversations. People are more openly, for the most part, you know, able to call each other on this stuff. Like I've always been someone that's, you know, said to any of my friends, you know, call me out on whatever it is. I'd like to, you know, like with, you know, like pronouns and things like that. This is still like a new thing as far as like a public discussion, and I'm gonna misgender people. I never do it on purpose. I would never do it on purpose. People that do it on purpose are complete assholes. But if I say she instead of they or whatever, like you have my permission to spray me with a water bottle, like for whatever it takes to, you know what I mean? Like you absolutely like, call me on it instantly.
But you said spray you with a water bottle, but like I think there's a difference between like being like, hey, it's actually, you know, this one thing, and correcting them, and then crucifying them and being like, this person hates trans
agree.
people, blah blah blah, you know, because they miss. It's like, well, what hell no,
and that's what I'm trying to get at exactly. No, I agree with you. And Jay had that point too in his talk, where it was like, you have to be able to have teachable moments.
Yeah,
we have to. Like you know, like I'm trying my best, and I'm gonna fuck up, and I'm someone that actively wants to change. You know, I'm someone that actively like considers myself to be an ally and things like that. And I think of how many times, with going in with good intentions and an open heart, I fuck up and I stumble. And that's someone who wants to change. You know, and a lot of people aren't there. So if I'm going to be met with like, you know, super criticism and anger and name calling, and I have gotten that, and I've got that in recent memory, and you know, it doesn't feel good. I can only imagine someone that's, you know, already not thinking the way that I am, already kind of not open to change. And if you're just going to attack them, you know, then you're not leaving a dialogue open. You're not leaving a conversation open. And I reject the notion that, you know, people act like you're saying, you know, walk up to like, you know, a Klansman and give him a hug. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like your next door neighbor, your coworker, even like a friend of yours, you know, those are the type of people we need to be able to have actual conversations and teachable moments.
Yeah,
we absolutely do.
It's become very difficult, I think, because instead of like looking at person to, like, instead of looking at it as a person-to-person basis where you can kind of teach that person or evaluate, like, oh, hey, did you actually mean that? Maybe we can talk about it. I think people have gotten to just like looking at the zeitgeist or stuff like that, like the problem as a whole, and if anyone messes up, then like it's this big explosive moment of like, well, see here, like this, blah blah blah. They hate all of these people. It's like, well,
yeah,
maybe they didn't mean to say that. Maybe they didn't know. You don't know. Like, if you actually have that conversation with them, maybe you can clarify rather than just immediately condemning, or who knows. But yeah, I mean, there are you have to look at history though, because at the same time, if people are making like remarks that are very racist or like very in line with like Nazi philosophy and stuff like that, it's like, dude, we've already learned that this is terrible stuff.
Yeah, there's certain things that are like warning signs. There's certain things where if it's
you should know better.
Yeah, if it's a repeated behavior, if it's something that you're not learning from or whatever, like someone in 2018 posting that kind of stuff, yeah, there's a time and a place for a conversation. I know we're in this weird, and I don't know if we wanted to go this deep, but since we're already here, fuck it.
Go for it.
At a certain point, it's like, well, like Nazi punching, for example, that's like an actual debate that we're having now, and like whether like it's okay. And there's this whole thing with like, Republicans calling for civility as they strip people of their rights, but they don't want us to like, call them names or whatever. And we're in this really weird place. And I think you have to be intolerant of intolerance, and as weird as that sounds, otherwise you let the people that would take over, you just hand them over the power. Because I'm a pacifist by nature. I don't like violence. It's not a thing that I would ever want, but there is like a time and a place where it's appropriate. Like, I have a wife and 2 kids, and if someone broke into my house, I would protect myself.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go out and hurt anyone. That's not who I am. And even if someone like picked a fight with me, I would still turn it down. That's just not me. I don't have anything to prove. But at the same time, again, if someone's like literally threatening my family, there's a time and a place for it. Yeah, so I don't know, but I feel like with a lot of this stuff going on, it's like James Gunn, he's a good director. I'm not going to excuse what he said because it wasn't right. But I feel like he should be able to learn. He should be able to learn. It's like the Republicans can go in and crawl through 6 years worth of tweets to find something, and then it's like because the left is trying to keep the moral high ground. That's really what we're talking about. Like, it's like he's basically being thrown upon the fire. We saw the same thing with Al Franken. Yeah. And I think people just because people agree with me doesn't, and they're more like-minded as me, I don't think that they should be absolved of their sins. That's not what I'm saying.
Thing
but
that
it's also
gets
like,
me
I feel like
is that Disney hired him. Like, so when did he get hired for the first Guardians? I'm sure it was after, like, just shortly after he made those tweets, right? So, I mean, like, they hired him knowing full well who he was and what he was about. And if that was kind of around the same time, like, I mean, I get that things have kind of changed, but it seems like I just don't get why. I mean, it's complicated. I do, and I don't. I get why it's happening. I don't necessarily agree with it, but at the same time, what he did was wrong back then. It's like, okay, like, just give him.
He also apologized for it then. Is like I guess that's the thing. Is like, it was wrong. He was being a douchey edgelord. Like, he wasn't right. He fucked up. He fucked up big time. He was being really offensive. But he apologized then,
Yeah.
and he felt bad about it, and he changed the behavior. And now, because Disney doesn't want to lose money, and I get their business and they've got to protect their IP.
That's
I get
the
it.
thing, though.
But, like,
having
that's what
him
they're afraid
do
of.
one more movie, they wouldn't. The money they would lose on having some internet outrage for 2 days
Yeah.
would be like, what, $20?
I definitely feel like this
pocket
is one of those
change. Like,
cases where
is
the more
ridiculous.
dangerous thing is. I feel like we've had conversations before about just like, fanboys and just kind of like their rage and entitlement. And I feel like this feeds into that. I feel like this sends the message that if you're loud enough, you can make this happen. And I'm all about I'm all about social justice. So there's definitely times where I want the people to be heard, but I feel like this doesn't feel like social justice though. This feels like something
spiteful.
else. Yeah, and because I get in for one thing, just as a fan, I like his movies. I don't know him personally. He might be a major dickhead. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know him. But Guardians 1 and Guardians 2 are great films, and as far as I know, like. Again, it was like comments he made a long time ago. It's not like Johnny Depp is a serial abuser. It's like on record he like has physically hurt people,
and Disney is still hiring him.
Career.
Yeah,
and I guess that's the thing is like, cool. Where's the line? You know what I mean? Like, if we're gonna be holding people accountable, and I guess like I get in a corporate structure, you can. Sign agreements and say, hey man, if this thing comes up, just like I think at most people's jobs, if you fuck up enough on Facebook or whatever it is, you lose your job. A lot of people have that real world thing. It's one of those we're still kind of learning how all this stuff works and the consequences of it all and how fair it is. It feels like depending on the thing, there should be kind of a statute of limitations where like, am I going to be judged, in my 40s on like a MySpace picture from when I was in college of me drinking a beer and looking like an idiot? I mean, you know what I mean? Like I'm not that person anymore. And I get that a digital archive of it still exists.
The day that happens, where they dig so deep, they go onto MySpace. That's when we've gone to hell.
That's where my deep cuts are at. If you want my deep cuts, you go to MySpace, baby. I never deactivated my account. It's still there somewhere too. Man.
I've tried to deactivate mine, and they wouldn't take it down. I hit that button so many times, and it's still up.
You're like, nah. This is digital gold, son. We keeping this for life.
It's terrible.
Man.
So speaking of people making terrible jokes and stuff like that, Elon Musk.
Oh my!
Did you hear about this stuff? What?
There's been so much with him. Refresh my memory on what the new thing is. I feel like every 4 days there's something with him.
New. There was the whole thing about him. It turns out that he was one of the major donors to the Republican,
GOP, the Super PAC,
GOP. Which if we're being honest, don't you think he would have given to both sides how rich he is and be like, hey, I want to go to space, let me build this lithium battery factory where I need to do X, Y, and Z and shit, all of this stuff, so maybe you guys should loosen up these regulations. I'm not surprised by that at all. That's just what rich people do. But then
rich people vote Republican for a reason.
Well, there is that, but they also donate to both sides. Just for whoever's in power, you want to be on their good side, especially if you're, like one of these big tech leaders who wants the business opportunities to have your technology in as many people's hands as you can get them in, right? Like, you want to be like, hey, dude, I supported your campaign. Why don't you loosen up this regulation, this law, so I can do X, Y, and Z. But then the whole thing about the children being trapped in the mine, and they brought someone on to help out with that, and he was like, oh, we're gonna send divers in, and then Elon Musk was like, well, why don't I just build a submarine and go in from the bottom? And the
oh my god,
internet exploded and was like, well, that's stupid and blah blah blah. And then I think he retaliated and aimed a bunch of like jokes at the guy they brought in to save these children, and like called him a pedophile and all this stuff. And it's just like, what the fuck is happening?
Dude, yeah. He's like basically almost fully transformed into the James Bond villain that I think he always wanted to be. Like, I swear to God. Like what the fuck is wrong with this guy? It's weird because even like a couple years ago, everyone was dick riding Elon Musk so hard, and he's like, "Oh, he's such a genius," and all this, and now now everyone's coming around.
Yeah, and so like, I mean, he has since also apologized for that stuff. Who knows if he actually meant it, you know? But like it's Twitter. Like there's still, you know, like they're still going on about that stuff. I'm sure once if you guys are listening to this as a podcast and stuff, it might be old news by now, but still, like that's like that's just what happens nowadays.
You bring up a good point. You bring up a good distinction too, Kyle. Like the thing you just said about Musk is that he got personal with this guy.
Yeah,
you know, like actively going after an individual. James Gunn was a fucking idiot and he was insensitive and stupid, but he didn't aim at any like one person. He said stupid shit and it wasn't like funny. I mean, but like he didn't like target anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a big difference when you're like, especially when you're that level of power, that level of influence. Like Donald Trump will go after individual people or companies. I'm like, that is so dangerous and so fucking reckless. To me, I guess I would definitely make a distinction between those two as well when we're talking about like holding people accountable and getting them in trouble. It's like one thing is to make a blatant statement that's a stupid joke or just a stupid thing to say, but then like actively attacking someone because you could actually affect their livelihood or sometimes even their health and safety depending on the situation.
The guy said he most likely would sue, which I understand that, you know, because that's slander and defamation of character. But again, like it's going to be a thing where he pays him, you know, somewhere in between tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's it. It's, you know, it's done. Who knows, man? Crazy stuff is happening this week. Who knows? Who knows what Trump would and wouldn't do these days? So there you go. Yeah. But
good time. Yeah, no doubt. Oh my god, I'm gonna get started on that. Woo. Let's just do a political podcast, and it'll just be me crying for 45 minutes every week. Let's just do that, right? That'll be fun. Like, what happened this week? All right, join us next week where I cry some more. People will listen to that, right? That would be fine. That'd be entertaining. Right?
There you go, a new hit show. Eric Mannix cries.
What?
This week, every Wednesday, Eric Mannix cries.
Yeah. But did you catch last week's? Last week's was the bomb.
Last week was a register. I was like,
you know what I'm saying? Higher tears. Even more tears. I made sure to stay hydrated and everything, you know, because you're sweating it out. You sweat it out. Man, good times.
Good times for sure. Good times. Let's see.
Well, was there anything else you want to talk about, my dude?
Yeah, actually. I just got done watching a show called Stranger on Netflix. I think I mentioned...
Is this one of the German ones?
Last week. It's a Korean one. Yeah. I
That's right. I knew you were watching some foreign language stuff. That was like the new thing, was discovering the foreign language stuff on Netflix.
And it was fantastic. So
nice.
One of the main actors in this show, I didn't recognize her because I haven't seen it. Apparently she's in Sense8 as well, the Netflix original show that is basically softcore porn the entire time, so I'm told. But yeah, like I saw her on, I guess I don't remember when it was, but some time ago there was a parade where it must have been Pride, where the cast of Sense8 was all on some, something there, and I saw it this past week, and I was like, oh, that's the girl from Stranger. But yeah, I really liked that show. It ended very well. I was very impressed.
Cool.
So I highly recommend that. It's a good one to watch if you guys like crime shows, especially foreign stuff, and you don't mind reading subtitles. It was good. It had an interesting twist that I haven't seen before.
Nice.
And I again, it's one of those things I can't really say what it is without spoiling it. But once you realize what the bad guy, like who the bad guy is, and then what the bad guy is doing, it's one of those. It kind of makes you think, and just like, I kind of wonder if I agreed with him. It's one of those, like, he had some valid points.
Magneto had some. Yeah, that's still one of my favorite shirts ever.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense of what he was going for, but I don't agree with what he did to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an interesting show. Crazy stuff happening.
Dope.
But yeah, I think that's about it for me. We got new neighbors. Oh, yes. Speaking of my new neighbors, so the house that I live in, it's actually a house. It's not like an apartment, but they've kind of sectioned off the basement as a separate apartment, and then we have a detached garage that's also a separate apartment. But new people just moved into the basement, and they both are friends with my other two roommates because they all bartend and they all work together and stuff like that. But I'm kind of the antisocial one. Like, I guess because they bartend, they know a lot of people. But I come home from work and I read comic books and I watch Netflix and I don't really go out to the bars that often. So I don't have very many people that I hang out with. And they're both big comic book nerds. And so we had like a cookout last weekend, and we barbecued, and I got into some like Star Wars discussion with them, and both my roommates they were dead silent and just had no idea what was happening. I was like, yes, this is amazing. I love it.
Heck yeah.
It's good to have people like that you can talk to and stuff like that about that stuff and just geek out. It's fun. It's good. Good stuff.
I feel that.
Hell yeah.
My wife is not a geek, and so I have to wait to talk to my little comic book friends about any of this stuff, because I'll just talk to her and she's just like, like,
I don't know.
You don't get it. You don't know. You're missing
but
out.
But it's Ahsoka, and she's coming back for a new season.
Ahsoka, though. My baby girl. It's my daughter. Don't talk about my space daughter like that. Shit. Yeah.
So
I'm trying to hear.
There you go. That's it.
Cool.
I think we will wrap things up there.
Cool.
So yeah, if you guys were checking this out live, thank you. You guys can check out this show live every Friday evening at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you guys miss that, that is A-OK. It'll be out as a podcast and as a YouTube video the following week, or you can get it early when you join our Patreon. Go to patreon.com and sign up for just $1. You can get all our episodes early. And in fact, I just made it so our website, if you are a patron, you can sign into our website with Patreon and get the content early on our website instead. And if you're not a member, so like when we posted up a new episode for patrons, it'll say like exclusive early access for crew members. And if you're a crew member, you can go and you can sign in and you can listen right there. And if you're not, it'll have like, hey, this is only for exclusive Patreon members. Sign up for our Patreon right here. Give us all your hard-earned money. And so, yeah, and then that's what you guys can do, because that's what exactly we want. We want all of your hard-earned money. Forget your savings account. Forget your 401k. Forget about your college tuition. Give us that money, and we can keep the lights on. All of that will go back into us podcasting, and there you go. Our shows can be bigger and better, and maybe one day we will defeat Thanos.
You know what I think we need?
What do we need?
I think we need a level on the Patreon where you get a Whatnauts membership ring. Like, do you see this ring right here? That's Whatnauts, baby! Woo! It only works when you yell at it.
So we
gotta figure out that level.
Ring will have a QR code, so if you scan the QR code, it'll unlock. So that would be amazing if we can make that happen. But we need your guys' support to make that happen in the first place. So patreon.com/the Whatnauts. Go check it out. Yeah. That is all. You guys can find me at the Hush315 on Twitter. You guys can yell at me for all the opinions you guys don't like of mine. Eric, where can they find you?
I am the Bobby Krogan over on Twitter and Instagram, and I think those are like the only things I really ever use. And Eric Mannix Photography on Instagram as well.
There you go. Good stuff. Oh, yeah. We will be back next week. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been the Captain's Log. Until next time. Adios.
Peace.